Greetings Pokemon fans. Pokemon Moon and Pokemon Sun have been announced, and the only thing that is on my mind is what will the new Eeveelution be? In most generations, a new Eeveelution is introduced. Its typing does not relate to the generation itself in most cases, but the way of evolution does. In Generation 2, Dark type was introduced to counter Psychic types. Thus, Embryon, a Dark type Eeveelution, was introduced, and it also introduced evolution through the time of day. In Generation 6, Fairy type was introduced to counter Dragon types. Thus, Sylveon, a Fairy type Eeveelution, was introduced, and it also introduced evolution through Pokemon and Me. But what will the next Eeveelution be? In Generation 2, when Dark types were introduced, Embryon was introduced with them. So, because Embryon had a new type that countered Psychic types, Espeon, a Psychic type Eeveelution, was also introduced in that generation. In Generation 6 though, Fairy types were introduced, and Sylveon was introduced with them. Sylveon had a new type that countered Dragon types, but no Dragon type Eeveelution was introduced alongside it. So, I think that the new Eeveelution will be a Dragon type. But that is not my only backup of this theory, there's more. Let's list all of the types that were used in Eeveelutions. We have Flareon, which is a fire type, Vaporeon, which is a water type, Jolteon, which is an electric type, Embryon, which is a dark type, Espeon, which is a psychic type, Leafeon, which is a grass type, Glaceon, which is an ice type, and Sylveon, which is a fairy type. All of these types are actually special types, but there is only one special type that is missing, which is Dragon. It feels like the right fit to give Eevee a Dragon type Eeveelution to have all special types given to Eevee as a possibility of evolution. Now let's look at how they evolve. Eevee evolves to a specific Eeveelution due to a kind of stimuli. For example, leveling it up near an ice rock evolves it into Glaceon. This is a kind of stimuli to make Eevee cope with the environment around it. Another example is leveling it up in the nighttime. This evolves it into Embryon to kind of cope with the nighttime. Flareon, Jolteon, and Vaporeon evolve while being exposed to a stone respective to each evolution's type. So this kind of debunks this part of the theory, right? Wrong. Actually, stones radiate a mysterious type of energy that causes them to evolve to each respective evolution. So this is also kind of a way to cope or react to the environmental change. Lastly, let's look at the Pokemon game's titles, Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. They are both far away from Earth, in outer space. Now, what would be a type that would go to the Sun or Moon without the need for technology or stuff like that? Well, flying types and dragon types. But flying needs air. A bird can't fly in space because space is a vacuum and has no air. Dragons, on the other hand, are mystical creatures that actually can fly or levitate or whatever in space. Dragons have been seen flying in space. An example of this is Rayquaza in Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Sure, it is part flying, but I don't think it would be able to move in space if it were just a flying type. Now this is the end of my theory. Do you think that this is what's going to happen, or do you have a different theory? Be sure to let me know in the comments below. Subscribe for more theories like this one in the near future. I'll be uploading them. Will you be watching them?